Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach Today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB, November 6th, 2023, ready to take it on. It's a Monday. Of course, our day to get organized. Hopefully you are doing fantastic today. We have got a due month here, our last one before we move into our planning. And of course, as we get into the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting into planning a little bit more and talking about our structure and things we're going to be doing because it's an exciting time. It really is. Right now is the time to start getting excited about the new year. I'm pumped about it. We want to finish strong. We've got some really cool stuff going on. We want to finish strong. We want to put that energy out there. But at the end of the day, we also want to focus on this idea of planning and structuring and getting ourselves ready to just dominate, right? And going forward with that energy, allowing that energy to drift back into our lives as we do that. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of self-awareness, finding life through self-awareness, why it's so important. It's a reoccurring theme, something we need to continue to learn about, but it is important. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about risk forward. We're going to get into part 2 of the book from Victoria V. We're going to go through a couple of the techniques that I really like as far as risking forward. Wednesday, we're going to talk about being aware and building a foundation of friendships and why that's important. How do you understand how to handle a friendship, especially those propellers, those people that are taking you to the next level? It's a really important show. I want to run a rocket with you. Thursday, going to ask JB, where do I find the right coach? Obviously, you're with me, which is great, but we're going to talk about a few other types of scenarios there. I've got that question a bunch. Friday, we're going to talk about allowing money to come in and to look for clues so that money will come to you when you're looking for that freedom and fulfillment. Saturday, we've got Dr. Paul talking about keeping your health up when you're traveling. We've got the holidays coming up. Great suggestions from Dr. Paul, as always. I hope you enjoyed last Saturday, a few days ago when we talked about bed bugs. I thought that was fun. What a great topic, and it is out there everywhere. So I was talking to a few people, and we were laughing because it's one of those things that does bother people. And then Sunday, we're going to talk about taking it every day and enjoying this process because that's what it's about as we get going. So it's a due month. With that being said, we should be executing on the plan that we built at the beginning of the year. If you're new with me, that's fantastic. You're in the perfect place at the perfect time. Don't worry about structuring your plan right now. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be building stuff. So just focus on listening and sponging up the information. If you've been with me, then we should be finishing out the year, pushing this final quarter, this last couple months to really have some successes, right? As we get forward, we got our 7 Ps. Let's remember those on Monday as we organize. Let's make sure we have proper perspective. Let's make sure we set the daily priorities. Let's focus on improved performance. Let's have patience, keep posture, stay present, and persist. Really important we do that as we take on the day. And I heard a definition of going after it and making things happening and really getting organized and building strategy. A lot of times we hear this discussion of strategy. You need a strategy. And it gets like, well, what does that even mean? Well, we've got, planners and structure and we're helping you. But what strategy really means, and I heard this definition, I thought it was great, was it really is about establishing proper priorities. That's what a strategy is. And that's what I want to get you to do in the morning. So when I give you these Ps, what we're talking about is establishing a priority path for you right now. What are you going to do today? What are the most important things you can do today in order to fulfill your dreams, to live the life that you're looking to live? And that's what we're doing as we get into our topics, right? So when I remind you the 7 Ps, and especially as we go into our planning next month and the end of this month, is that we really want to focus in on making sure we are setting the right priorities, okay? Perspective is critical because it allows you to set the right priorities. If you don't have the right perspective, it's hard to set the right priorities. But when we do that, it is important to our structuring and organization of the things we're doing. Okay, so let's get into today's coaching. We're going to talk a little bit about self-awareness. And self-awareness is this idea of learning about self. It's about getting ourselves in a place where we can feel, is this good? Is it helping me? Or is it bad and is it hurting me? And there's various things we can talk about. Like for me, when I do my cold plunges and we had some snow, so the cold plunge is getting colder. I had to get an aquarium heater. It works for me. It gives me this dopamine hit. It makes me feel good. And I'm self-aware of that. Like, wow, okay, this makes me feel good. This is something I should do more of. Where if we talk about some of the bad things, we could talk about alcohol. I've mentioned alcohol before in the past. I went 70 days without drinking, and then I had a few drinks. Halloween night, a couple weeks, well, it was last week, right? It's going to say a couple weeks last week. Had a few drinks Halloween night, and it affected my performance once again. And I realized, okay, this is something that as much as I try to have some fun once in a while and just relax, it just doesn't work. It's a bad thing. So I have to have enough awareness to be able to choose the priorities right. And one of those priorities is saying, okay, I'm going to stay away from drinking. I'm going to focus on these core activities like working out, like my self-care, taking care of my mental state, my meditation, because that works for me. It really does. And knowing that, I am starting to learn about myself more and more. And with the plan that we have and the structure that we have and what we do together, the more you become self-aware, the more you understand the things that work for you and the things that don't work for you, then all of a sudden we can make the changes that we need to our plan to have that life, that joy that we can all have. And we can start to get that consistency or do the things that are consistently going to make the difference in our lives that are so important. So when we look at that, I've got a couple questions or statements that I want to go through today that are going to help you kind of in your self-awareness, okay? And it's going to help you understand more about why you do what you do and then make the changes accordingly. Now, when we talk about self-awareness, a lot of people aren't self-aware, and that's one of the reasons that they have issues. And you can see that, and you can see that publicly. You can see their behavior. You can see what they do on social media. They just aren't aware. They aren't aware of what they're putting, the energy they're putting out in the world. And so our goal here at Morning Coach, and specifically this week, is start being aware of the way you act and the way you do things. And is it helping you move forward? Is it supporting you in your goals, or is it taking things away? And we can all get better at this. This is one of those things that you can learn to get better at. It's a skill, not a talent. This is something that you can actually learn to get better at. So how do we do that? Well, number one, we want to review our actions. So I'm a big fan of journaling. I like journaling and tracking. I've said that a bunch, whether it's an Oura Ring, the Whoop device, whether it's writing my feelings down, tracking what is going on and seeing what gives me the results. Success leaves clues. It's very simple. So when I look at it and I go, okay, wow, I slept good that night. What did I do to help me sleep good? What did I eat? What did I bring into my body? What didn't I do if I didn't sleep good? If my recovery wasn't good, then what happened? If I'm in the red, what was going on? So we want to check our actions. We want to feel how we feel. Do you feel guilty about doing something? If you're feeling guilty about doing something, you probably shouldn't do that, right? We should change that behavior. A lot of things that we do and a lot of things that we talk about are behavioral changes, making changes in your behavior. Not changing you, changing the behaviors that you have leads to success. And this can go all the way back to, if we're reading Atomic Habits and creating new habits, at the bottom line of it, without knowing you at the level that you need to know yourself, it's hard to make the changes that you need to make or stay consistent in the changes you need to make. Like me, 7 days not drinking, have a few drinks. It did not serve me. Okay. And it was like, okay, well, what do I need to do? I need to check my actions. I felt guilty about that. It didn't work. Was it fun? I guess for a little while, but it really didn't serve me. So it's just a reminder to say, okay, let's check yourself. Let's be aware and let's make the changes that we need to make. Let's table that, get refocused and reorganized. And, let's go 100 days this time or 150 days or never again. Because I've learned over time this year that it just hasn't served me. Every time it's been not a good thing. So it's like, okay, let's check our actions. What are the results of the things we're doing? Success leaves clues. That's the first thing. So we want to be aware of the things that we're doing that are working and the things that we're doing that aren't working. Then we got to ask that question that I absolutely love is, does it give you energy? Does what you're doing give you energy? Or does it take energy? So the things that I do when I'm loving life and I'm building and helping others and structuring business components to the business and seeing the life changes and getting the testimonials, to me, that gives me tremendous energy. What doesn't give me energy is laying on the sofa next day after having a few drinks, right? So I'm just using that as an example. Not that I obviously drink very much at all because of that, but it's a good example to say, okay, does it give me energy or does it not? And if it doesn't give me energy, then I'm not going to do that particular behavior. I think about like gambling a little bit on the horses and on sports. Every once in a while, I'll get into that because I can make money. It's easy, it's fun, and I enjoy it sometimes. But losing doesn't give me energy. So if I get on a losing streak, it really sucks the life out of me. Winning is great. You get that dopamine hit. It's exciting. But I don't care who you are. If you don't have the risk tolerance to lose, then it's not going to be good. And I just don't like to lose. So it doesn't give me energy. So the activity in itself, I got to be aware enough that it isn't helping me move forward. Okay? So again, a lot of this is your own introspective actions that you're doing by doing what we're telling you to do, by journaling, by looking at your feelings, by tracking, by understanding what is going on in your body, what's going on in your mind, and understanding, do you feel a little guilty? Is it giving you energy? Okay, well, success leaves clues. Those are things that we know are not serving us, so let's make the changes that we need to make. A couple other things we can do, and this one is with a caveat. I got to be careful here. It is what others say. What do other people say? So are you doing things that other people can notice, that you're not taking that feedback in? Now, there's certain things I don't care about. Like when I do an event or I do my own stuff, I don't want feedback. I've been doing it long enough that I'm not going to read it or listen to it anyways. Now, that sounds really egotistical and arrogant, but there's a reason for that, because I don't want to get caught up in that trap of listening to a few people. Now, with that being said, I'm always open to listen to feedback, but I do it in my own way. I'm listening to the takeaways that people are getting from the situations. You see, what's weird about when I say this is that in my business, there's a lot of people that want to tell you what to do. That's why a lot of people want to be coaches. We're going to talk about this on Thursday. A lot of people want to be coaches because it's an ego thing for them. They're telling you what to do. But a great coach doesn't tell you what to do. When I coach somebody and I'm on the phone with them, I don't want to listen to a lot of problems. I don't want to, but I want to get them to the answer as soon as possible. I'm not a therapist. That's a totally different aim. And I'm really not that much of a coach, because a coach listens constantly, right? I'm more of a consultant, which is somebody who tells with coaching, meaning typically what I will do with somebody is I will uncover the answer through listening to them. But a lot of people think that coaches deal with problems, right? Inherent problems, which is true, but they're usually bigger problems. And that's the issue I have with the whole coaching, and we'll get into this Thursday, is like so many people think, can you fix a person? That's not what I do as a coach. Like what I do as a coach is take them to the next level. What I do as a coach is help them find certainty and clarity in the things that they're doing. And it's important for me to do that. And the people that are hiring me, that's what we're doing. We're driving them to higher levels. I'm not a coach that's here to fix somebody or to create accountability. We've talked about that. So when it comes to what other people say, I have to be cautious of that. But I am listening, because if you remember when we talk about in the consulting kind of track, when we do the feedback loop, what you're listening to is what you do good. And as you do it over years, you will know that you do good in specific things by listening to what they say. Not specifically feedback, but listening to what they say that they're getting value from. And that's a big component of self-awareness. So we want to listen, but we want to listen to the right people, and we want to listen to the right things. Very important, because if you listen to the wrong people, like the people that said, hey, JB, you need to put on a suit when you go speak. That's the totally opposite thing that I needed to do. It actually killed my business. So you got to be careful of others. Make sure you get the right people. And that's why having the right coaches around you that understand these dynamics are critical. We'll talk about that Thursday. Okay? The next step is it supporting you to be your best self? Are you being your best self? So one of the things I always say is, I got a reminder that pops up on the weekends, be the doctor. Be the person that people are looking up to. If I drink and I get a little loopy, right, and I'm fun and people want to be around me, but I'm kind of a cynical, funny person, but I'm not the doctor. I'm not supporting people the way they want to be. So I want to be self-aware enough that I'm being my best person. I'm being the best that I can be. That's why I like the uniform of the Hugo Boss, Diesel jeans, Kohan shoes, because I'm being my best person, okay? So you're going to be your best self. Are you being your best self? And how do we do all of this? Well, bottom line, we got to slow down. So as we get into our planning and we get into the things that we do, a lot of times we speed up. And in this world, it's going faster and faster. It's not slowing down. I'm old enough to be around before computers, right? And before computers, everybody said, oh, it's going to make our life so easy. It's going to slow everything down. It's done the opposite. Everything is sped up. I mean, you can tell it's already November 6, 2023. This is the fastest year of my life. So one of the things that we've got to do, have a conscious effort to do, is to slow down. That's why journaling and self-awareness are so important, because otherwise you speed up, and next thing you know, it's 3 weeks later. And that's happened to me. It happens to me a lot. And that's one of the reasons, again, to go back to drinking, it's not good for me to drink because it just takes me out of that loop of time. Next thing you know, time's flying. So I like to slow down with meditation and healthier alternatives that allow me to connect to life as it is. So I want you to think about self-awareness. I want you to think about your actions. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel empowered? I want you to think about, is it giving you energy? Is it taking energy away from you? I want you to think about what other people say, but not generally what they say, like understanding the feedback loop that we teach. What kind of feedback are you getting? Not direct, hey, you suck at that, or you need to do this, or that's not feedback. That's somebody telling you what they want to tell you. What I'm looking for is takeaways. What are they really getting out of the things that you do? And then we want to be our best self. That's part of self-awareness. Be your best self. And then finally, we want to slow it down. Just slow it down and enjoy this process. It's critical, okay, as we move forward. All right, let's get out there and have a great day. Let's put some great energy out there. It's a great Monday. Remember your 7 Ps. If you do anything this morning, let's make sure we have proper perspective and set your priorities, okay? Very important in the Morning Coach system. All right, get out there. Lots of love to you, and I'll be back tomorrow right here on morningcoach.com.